Imagine waking up one morning, walking outside and just starting to dance. Not because you want to, not because there is music playing, just dancing, uncontrollably for days, without stopping, until you die. This actually happened. In the summer of 1518 in the city of Strasbourg, a woman named Frau Troffea walked out of her house and started dancing in the street. No music, no reason, just dancing. Her husband watched from the doorway completely confused. She danced for 6 days straight. And then 30 more people joined her. Nobody knows why. Within a month, 400 people were dancing in the streets of Strasbourg. 400 people, dancing non-stop, in the July heat. No music, no celebration, just uncontrollable movement that nobody could explain and nobody could stop. People were crying while they danced, begging for help while their legs kept moving, screaming that they couldn't stop while their arms kept flailing. It was not a party. It was a nightmare that looked like a party. Now here's where the city of Strasbourg made things significantly worse. The city doctors looked at the situation. 400 people dancing themselves to death in the streets. And their diagnosis was, it's a fever. And their prescription for this fever was more dancing. Yes. The doctors decided that the best way to stop people from dancing uncontrollably was to make them dance more, so that they would sweat it out, like a normal fever. The city council followed this advice completely seriously. They cleared out guild halls. They hired professional musicians to play around the clock. They brought in professional dancers to help the afflicted. They built a stage in front of the horse market and set the dancers loose on it with a full live band. The solution to the dancing plague was a concert, and as you can probably predict, this made everything much, much worse. More people joined. Because when you see 400 people dancing on a stage with a live band, you might just jump in, even if those 400 people are crying and screaming that they cannot stop. The dancing spread like an actual plague. People who came to watch got pulled in. Healthy people, who just wanted to help feed and support the dancers, ended up dancing themselves. Within weeks, the entire city was in chaos. People were dying from exhaustion, heart attacks, strokes, all from dancing. The death toll climbed into the dozens. Eventually, the city council did what they probably should have done from the beginning. They banned music, they banned dancing, they banned concerts, they shut it all down. And slowly, over the following weeks, the dancing plague ended, as mysteriously as it had begun. Nobody could explain how it started. Nobody could explain why it ended, and nobody to this day fully understands what actually happened in Strasbourg in 1518. So what actually caused it? Theory 1, ergot poisoning. Ergot is a fungus that grows on rye bread. And when you eat ergot, you can experience convulsions, hallucinations, involuntary muscle movements, which sounds a lot like uncontrollable dancing. The problem with this theory is that ergot poisoning usually makes you unable to move, not compelled to dance constantly, so probably not ergot. Theory 2, and this is the one most historians believe, mass hysteria. In 1518, Strasbourg was having an absolutely terrible time. 3 years of famine, floods, outbreaks of bubonic plague and syphilis, political instability, and a widespread belief that a saint named Saint Vitus would curse you with uncontrollable dancing if you failed to pray to him properly. The combination of extreme stress, superstition, and the sight of one woman dancing in the street created a kind of psychological chain reaction. The brain, under enough stress, can generate physical symptoms that feel completely real. And in a community that genuinely believed dancing was a possible divine punishment, the simple act of seeing someone dance was enough to trigger it in others. One woman danced. And in a city full of terrified, starving people who believed that dancing curses were real, everyone else's brain said, "Oh no, it's happening to me too." And it worked. Because mass hysteria is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. It doesn't require any external cause. It just requires enough people to believe something is happening. And then it happens. 400 people dance themselves into exhaustion and death. Because they believed they couldn't stop. And because they couldn't stop believing it, they couldn't stop. The dancing plague of 1518 ended after about 2 months. Frau Troffea, the woman who started it all, disappeared from the historical record completely. Nobody knows what happened to her. Nobody knows if she survived. She just started dancing one day. And then she was gone. And 500 years later, we are still talking about it. Which means, in a way, she never stopped. Drop a comment below. Which theory do?